Yeah, I guess growing up in Germany, like how familiar were you with the concept of a field storming? I'm sure you had seen it like since you got over here, but like how crazy was all of that for you?
I mean, to be honest with you, like I didn't know anything about football like 5 years ago, so I guess at that part, like nothing at all. But it was wild. We enjoyed it for like 12 hours, and now we're like focusing back on Kentucky. So.
What was it like to be a part of probably one of the biggest plays in the history of the school?
I mean, it was a great feeling. To be honest with you, it was all Miles on that play. He knew what he wanted to do. We had talked about it like on the sideline before, so it didn't come as a surprise. But
so, what was that conversation like?
I was to be honest with you, I was kind of reeling the guard in so he could take the inside move. But so I was reading him, which kind of allowed me to like get to the ball faster, if that makes sense. But yeah.
How much is that emphasized? I mean, obviously, ball's on the ground, you're going to jump on it, but like, how much is that emphasized within the defensive line room? Like, you guys will try to get the football.
I mean, ball security and disruption is like a big emphasis point in our program, so that's something we drill every day. So it wasn't like when it happened, it wasn't like I hadn't been there before, if that makes sense.
You guys had a lot to celebrate. Nobody would blame you for that, obviously. But what have the conversations among players and coaches been like in terms of being focused and turning to Kentucky?
We have like this thing we say it's like a winning the response. So whether it can be at any point, like if it's in a game, like whether it's like you make a good or a bad play, just like focusing back and like going back to your process, and it's kind of like the same mindset we're attacking the week with.
How do you think the focus level has been compared to when you guys were heading into Georgia State and Clark said it just wasn't very good?
It's been great. Like I'm sure Coach Lee already said, like the bye week and the Alabama week were like our best practice weeks. That was just great. Like players also taking ownership of their roles. So it's kind of.
What's your sense of how improved the run defense is relative to last year?
It's great. We've changed stuff up schematically and technique-wise, and I feel pretty confident in us.
What's the energy in the locker room now? Has it changed since the Missouri game?
As far as what?
Just the vibes in general in the locker room.
I mean, to us, like it's not like I know it might seem crazy to the outside world, but like we've been very close, and it was just like we just needed a breakthrough, and that's what happened last Saturday. And I think like team-wise, nothing has like really changed. But yeah.
How do you think you've improved personally this season?
I mean, I try to always improve in any aspect, but I feel like the game has kind of slowed down for me, just because I guess I haven't had like the biggest football background, if you want to say so. So like I've just been learning, to be honest with you.
We know what Diego's done for the offense, obviously, but like, what has he done for the defense and wanting to give him the ball back, give the offense the ball back, and try to keep scoring?
I mean, I trust that guy wholeheartedly, if that's what you're saying. I mean, he's a ball player. He's a dog, and like that trickles down to practice and like any aspect of the team. Like when you bring like that sort of competitive edge to a team.
Do you feel fresh this year? I mean, you guys rotate a lot on the defensive line with whether it's Christian James or Seabrooks or whoever. Mm-hmm. Do you feel fresh and maybe fresher than last season?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I wouldn't say it has much to do with the rotation, but it's just like we've been physically prepared in like a different way than we have been in the past with the new strength staff and stuff. So that's what I would like attribute that to.
I think you're part of that jumbo package where it's usually like you and Glenn and Demarion, and then there's 5 down. Like I think Linus is usually in there, and it feels like you guys have not really allowed anything in short yardage situations with that group, and Alabama has to run the wide receiver reverse because they don't want to run against it. Like, what do you think has made that package so successful?
I think in general, like in our D-line room, we have like a lot of versatility as far as like people having different like strength as far as like body goes and just like skill set. So I feel like just making those sort of packages just helps us in certain situations.
Feels like you guys understand what you're supposed to do better, just judging by people being in lanes, they're not being wide open parts of the field like we saw last year. Has this been an easier defense for you guys to learn?
Coach Lee just puts a big emphasis on learning the game. So, like, it doesn't matter who you are in the room. Like, I know people don't think D-linemen are the smartest players on the field, but, like, he wants you to just understand the game as a whole. So we'll sit in a meeting and, like, he'll talk about the whole defense, you know? Like, it just gives you a better, like, global understanding. Like, it helps me when I know that there's no one behind me and everybody's a man coverage. Like, I know what I can do in those sort of situations, if that makes sense.
You talked about not really knowing what football was 5 years ago. Now you guys were in the spotlight of the football universe for most of the weekend. What was that like? Was there a moment that you thought, man, this is really a bigger deal than I ever would have imagined?
Funny enough, I was talking with like teammates and stuff, and they were asking me like how much people back home are reaching out to me, and it's probably a lot less than some of my teammates, just because a lot of like people in my circle and my family like just don't really understand the sport. So yeah, it's definitely different.